Welcome to the Independent Advisors Podcast, where we dive into the world of stocks, tradable markets, and financial planning with Jessup Wealth Management's Chief Investment Officer, Mark McEvily, and CEO, Matt Jessup. You'll hear tips, tricks, and strategies to address your financial well-being, and most importantly, conveyed in a way that everyone can understand. Here are your hosts, Mark and Matt.
Welcome to episode 364 of the Independent Advisors Podcast. This week, I have an extremely special guest. My wife, my most favorite person in the entire world, Rachel Jessup. Welcome to the Independent Advisors Podcast.
Hello. I am so excited to be here and slightly terrified, but it's okay.
Well, it only took 364 weeks of the creation of the podcast to have you on.
It's fine. It's great. I'm glad to be here.
I think this is going to be a very popular podcast from an engagement standpoint because I think a lot of listeners and viewers, especially longtime clients, are very intrigued as to the course of the firm and how it's come to fruition today, and that wouldn't be possible without you.
Oh, thank you. I also think people are so excited to see the real side of you. Let's be real. They want to know how you really are, Matt.
I could see that. This is going to be fun. Before we get into this week's show, listeners, if you've been enjoying the Independent Advisors Podcast, I'd encourage you to head to our website, jessupwealthmanagement.com. I offer a 15-minute initial call where you can discuss your financial goals and see if JWM is a good fit for your needs. Scheduling is easy. Once you land at the jessupwealthmanagement.com website, just click Schedule Initial Call and select a time that works best for you. There's a quick survey to fill out that will help guide the conversation and ensure your time is used efficiently. If you're ready to learn more, visit jessupwealthmanagement.com and book your call today. So it's been a while, but Jenna and Mary Beth have put together a few prompts for us that we are going to go through.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I perused these 3 weeks ago. I didn't remember any of these. So listeners and viewers, the conversation between my wife and I is going to be very genuine and organic as we talk through this.
Yeah. I'm ready.
No charts, no talking points like the regular podcast. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
This is what the ladies put together first. The early days. What was it like in the first few years of building the firm, Jessup Wealth Management, and what you wish you would have known going into it?
Okay. So we were absolutely crazy and decided to get engaged and then have a wedding 9 months later. And then you decided that you wanted to be independent in that absolute same year.
Yes.
So we were insane.
Yes, we were. 2009 was quite a year.
It was a crazy year. So not only planning a wedding, but trying to figure out how to be independent and go that route and interviewing firms and doing all of these things, interviewing these brokers.
Yeah. No, I think that's well said. I think what doesn't get a lot of perspective is at that time, you and I were doing the roles of 13 people now at this firm. And I think that that is a different perspective. We were actually putting together paperwork, right?
Yeah.
Answering the phone. I was doing my own research. I was doing my own stock trades. Like go down that list and juggling our home life.
Yeah, because we also bought a house that year that needed a whole lot of work, and we're
that's a good point.
Getting that up and going. What I wish I would have known going into it. I wish I would have known just how much time it all really took. Being entrepreneurs, you know it's going to take a lot of time, but no one really tells you how much time it's going to take and how much time it takes away from each other.
Yep.
How much time it takes away from life.
Yep.
And then when you add kids into the mix, then you have a whole other perspective on everything. So yeah, I really wish I would have known just how much time. And just to give examples, back when you first started this company, you were working 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, you
true.
were working Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. And then again, when you add kids into the mix, it's, oh my goodness, I'm kind of single momming it up in here.
You were for many years.
But also trying to support you and your growth and what that looked like, because at the time I was also still very much helping in the business and trying to get things going. And, And we would come home and it's all we would talk about would be your business and your company and growing it and what that looked like. And so I wish I would have known just how much time that would have taken. And then also from a woman's perspective, how much time you didn't spend with me, because that was hard. That was really hard as you're a newlywed couple and trying to navigate life together. And then you're like, oh yeah, now you want to be a business owner on top of all of that.
And let's start throwing young kids into the mix.
Yeah. And it was just hard. It was a lot of long days. So
Yeah, I think from my perspective, from a business standpoint, the toughest challenge in the 2010 decade was definitely the aspect of build it and they will come. And building out the capacity that was needed to grow the firm, but you didn't have the revenue to offset that expense. So we were constantly making a sacrifice of putting money into the business over anything else. And I think that was a significant challenge for us as well.
absolutely. And that growth also comes with situations like, I remember the first time we went to Disney World as a family. You know, Rowan was little, our now almost 15-year-old kid.
I don't think many people have heard this story.
Yeah, I mean, Rowan was little, and I was so excited about this trip because you had been working so hard, and we needed a vacation so badly. And I remember going to Disney, and the Japanese markets, I will never forget this, the Japanese markets just crashed while we were in Disney World.
Yes.
And that ended the Disney World trip.
Yeah,
it just ended it.
I worked from the condo that we were renting for that week, that whole day.
Yep.
And I was on the phone with clients. I was doing trades, because again, I was doing all those roles that is done by now specialists here at the firm, and there was no vacation.
It just stopped so abruptly, and I remember being so mad.
You were very upset, and you had a right to be.
So mad.
You had a right to be.
But you look back, and it's all such perspective on where we are now, and I'm very thankful for the sacrifices then, because what we've built is so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for everybody that's here and our employees, and they're not employees, they're our family. So I'm just so grateful for everybody in this company. And let's not cry on the podcast.
I know we'll get to that because, let's just get into that. So, I think what could be important for a lot of other entrepreneurs to hear, maybe even especially, Rachel, younger entrepreneurs, younger for their business, not their age, is we took what I feel is the hard path in growing the business. We have been hiring for the individual, a lot of the intangibles, and less on the experience side. And we taught them the business. And that's the hard way to do it. And now I really feel that we are enjoying the fruits of those sacrifices, and clients see it. We don't have turnover, and clients can really see that the staff that we have genuinely cares, and that just permeates through the whole firm. And if we didn't make those tougher decisions early on and we chose the shortcuts, it wouldn't be where it's at today. Why don't you try to add to that?
Yeah, I can give. So I think we should tell people how we met, because that's kind of fun. Cause
it is intertwined.
It is intertwined. So I joined the firm that Matt used to work for many years ago. He used to work for UBS Financial Downtown, and I was hired as marketing in his firm. So technically, Matt was my boss, technically.
This is accurate.
And so I even remember from being on staff, I remember that perspective of falling in love with clients. And I mean, I can name off my favorites who some are still with us and some have passed on. But I remember sitting in that seat and just being like, you know what? I love these people. I love these clients. I love that Matt has a beautiful relationship with them, and that's why I fell in love with you, because you are so genuine with all your clients and anybody that you have interactions with.
Thank you, baby.
You are just so committed to lifting up everyone around you. And so, yeah, I mean, I just quickly fell in love with you, and that was really fun to navigate, as we kind of really weren't allowed to date, but we figured it out.
Well, on top of it, we were going through the worst financial market environment since the Great Depression of the 30s. So you got to remember that, from 2007 to 2009, and when we started dating in 2008, the fall of '08 was the depths of the great financial crisis. And so I'm dealing with the markets during the day, and then you and I are going out on dates in Cincinnati.
Yeah, because we really couldn't be seen in Dayton, so that was fun.
Oh, my goodness
And
gracious.
we dated in secret for 6 months. Nobody knew we were dating.
Yep.
And then one day, I just quit my job.
Well, we came out, hey, we're engaged.
Yeah, we were. I showed up with a ring on my finger. Ring on my finger,
Yeah.
and everybody was like, "Wait a minute!" And then it happened to be you. It was just crazy. It was so fun though. Fun.
Again, 08 and 09 were crazy years.
Yeah, but it's been fun to watch the perspective of being an employee of Matt Jessup, and then being your wife, and then mother, and moving through this transitional period. So I have great empathy to the people that work with us and work for us.
Yes.
And so it's really neat to look back and see how that's all shifted and changed through the years. And I can tell all of you, Matt is just as lovely now as he was back then.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about culture, because I think culture at firms is important, and this has been a common theme for us getting the business going. When Mark joined us later, this continues to be a big, big focus. And what does culture at what we've built, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, culture is hiring for the person and maybe not necessarily for their skill set, which I don't want to say that skill set isn't extremely important.
Sure.
And there's obviously parameters around that. But no, culture is everything. And leading back to my story about marrying you, I mean, I was really the first culture in the relationship and in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, I really didn't know anything about anything financial when I joined your firm. I knew nothing. You told me later that we were in the great financial crisis. I went, really? What does that mean? I mean, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I was a culture hire. And so I think you're like, look, I did a culture hire of my wife. I feel like that's
I never thought of it from that
Really?
perspective. No.
Oh man,
No.
I have. So yeah,
it's interesting.
Culture is everything. Having the right people in the right seats makes every bit of a difference. And don't get us wrong, we've had our faults. Of course we have. When you go through growth and you're trying to figure that out and what it looks like and dialing down to what works well for your firm and for us.
Yeah.
It's and I like to point that out too. It's not that you're just hiring people because you want to hire people. I mean, you come home and we talk about it for hours.
Absolutely.
And we talk about who you think is lined up and hey, here's their personality type and this is what I'm thinking, but like, what are your thoughts? So
all right. So what people don't understand is not only everything you said is 100% accurate, but I always seek you out for counsel on these things.
yes, you always do.
You're very gifted in this area.
I am behind the scenes consulting.
You're very gifted in this area.
Thank you. I feel like I have a gift of wisdom. My parents have been telling me that for years. So I enjoy that role in our relationship, and I enjoy the people aspect of things. And I have, anybody who knows anything about Myers-Briggs, you do this in your...
We do it with staff.
With staff.
Yep.
But I am an ESFJ and you are an ESTJ.
I am.
So you tend to have that feeling perspective is not quite there sometimes.
I know people listen to the podcast right now in their car and they're like, I knew Matt was an ESTJ.
I knew Matt was a T. I mean, if people didn't know you were a T.
True.
But it's fun to give that personality perspective on things because I tend to bring you back down to earth sometimes.
Definitely have my moments.
Yeah, you have your moments. You like to go scorch earth. We got to pull it back.
I do have my moments.
You do have your moments.
Well, this is a good tie-in. The next question that Jenna and Mary Beth came up with is, what does work talk, air quotes with that, look like at the home? Like how much business actually comes up at the dinner table And how do we keep boundaries between work and family life? That's a good question.
It is. I would say work comes up all the time.
Yeah.
But I will, again, talk about the history of everything. So in the beginning of our marriage, where work was just plain hard. I mean, work was talked about in anger. It really was. It was talked about in frustration. It was talked about in work is taking time away from me and our family. And,
fair.
and
it was very fair.
It was hard. Work was frustrating.
Yes.
Exciting, but frustrating all at the same time. And we were young and dumb and stupid.
We knew we were in the sacrifice phase,
Yeah.
and going through the sacrifice phase is not fun.
Well, and you knew we were in the sacrifice phase.
Yeah.
I, not so much.
In retrospect, you did.
Yeah, in retrospect, I look back and see it. But at the time, no. I mean, I felt like I was drowning. You were drowning. Everyone needed a life preserver, and nobody had one.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. But when we talk about work now, it comes up every single day, multiple times a day. Because I think when you're an entrepreneur, it's integrated. It's integrated and ingrained in your life. And it doesn't always have to be about the market or what it's doing today. It's oftentimes about, here's the exciting things that are happening. I met with this client. I haven't seen them in a while. Or it's the personal updates that probably
meaningful.
More, the meaningful things.
So what comes to mind is, as the kids have been growing up, tell the listeners and viewers that if I came home in not the best mood, what would the kids automatically assume was happening in my work world? I'm trying to tee this up a little bit for you, because they would normally be like, oh, what's wrong with dad? Is it a blank market?
Oh, yes. And our kids still do this. At least one of them does.
Yes.
But, they would all say, is it a bear market?
Is it a bear market, Dad? Are you in a bad mood because it's a bear market?
They knew they probably still don't know, aside from Rowan, what a bear market is, but they know it is associated with not good
with dad
times
not
with
being
dad.
in a good mood.
That's not great. That's not great.
So when I was making the day-to-day buy and sell decisions, of course, not everything would go my way. And I definitely would come home certain days, and it would be Micah usually. He's like, Dad, bear market.
Bear market. Because the bear market, flips day by day. Bear market.
So this leads to the great next question: raising kids around entrepreneurship. What your kids understand about what you do and how that has shaped them.
Yeah.
I'm always going to let you go first.
So I think our kids understand that being entrepreneurs is hard, and we're very open and honest about that. But there's also a big, beautiful part about being entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. You get to a point in your growth where those dividend checks eventually start to pay.
Yep.
And whether that's more time or that's maybe an additional vacation or whatever it looks like, that we can spend time with our kids one-on-one more. I would say the ultimate thing is time.
Yes.
It's you get a little bit of time back, which is wonderful.
And I try to do a better job in balancing the sacrifices and the rewards, because I think you would acknowledge this, especially up until maybe the last 3 or 4 years, that I'd say, especially Rowan, our oldest, associated my business with a lot of negativity.
Oh, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Rowan was, as we're entering into this stage where he's having to really start to think about what he might want to do in the future.
Yep.
And we've never pressured any of our children to take this route. We never have. I mean, of course, it would be cool for them to do that, but we've never pushed it. And as he was looking at what you do, I think he was really more terrified.
Yeah,
than
it was a big
anything.
turnoff, I would argue.
Oh, a huge turnoff. But as he gets older and
gets more perspective.
Yeah, and as all of our children get older and they understand what it means to be entrepreneurs, they are a little interested in that part. And again, we will support them no matter what they want to do. But of course, if they want to be entrepreneurs, that would be amazing. We would love for them to go down that route.
I would agree.
But they're very aware of the steps it takes to get there.
So a couple more questions, and this is not in any sort of order, so I'll just read this out loud. So what's changed versus what stayed the same? So how the firm in your lives have evolved from the early days to now. What else comes to mind on that topic?
Well, certainly size. When we started, it was you and me. You and me, babe.
Yeah.
It was you and me.
Yeah. We had to be Swiss Army knives walking around.
Oh, we were. And I remember not only cold walking and trying to find people that are coming into the door,
Point.
but running around and getting paperwork signed because nothing was digital back then.
No, it wasn't.
So it was more.
Cold calling on Saturday afternoons to teachers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I was part of some of that,
Yeah.
but clearly not as much as you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's the size difference to look at. I mean, even the building we're in, we were in a one-room office. Like that's where we were before all of this. So I think the perspective of seeing just the growth in that way
Yes.
has been really incredible. And then I'll also throw in my growth individually has been really fun to do lately.
So why don't you share with the listeners and viewers how your life has changed, but especially in the last 5 years from your aspirations in the professional side of your life? Because I think some people know, but a lot of people don't, Rachel.
Yeah, and this is not a bashing session whatsoever about you in the early days in our marriage.
You can make it about whatever you want.
So early on, I mean, our lives were just all encompassing with Jessup Wealth Management. It's just all what we did. And
Sure.
so, you know, me necessarily working outside the home, I did it for a while, early on.
Yeah, you had some entrepreneurial
I did.
ventures from time to time.
You know, I went from working for other people to stepping into that entrepreneurial space. You know, why not add another entrepreneurial business onto the mix? Why not?
I should have brought that up earlier.
So that we both had that spirit. And after doing several businesses, I owned a floral shop. I used to rent in this space. And then I owned a small boutique for a while.
Dusty Miller.
Yep, where I used to hire women who were recovering from addiction. So it was a ministry all in itself.
Yes.
And ministry has been such a huge, important part of my life, but we never really had the time or effort to make it happen. Or I didn't, because I was focusing so much on picking up some of the things at home that you just simply didn't have time for.
No.
Because you were growing this business. And it's been fun to finally dive into that recently. So I've really enjoyed giving back in our community. Do I bring home an income? No, but I bring home a whole lot of warmth into our home, I think.
You're making a significant impact in this community.
Yeah, I really enjoy, thank you. And I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy giving back to everybody because we went through this period of growth where people took chances on us. And
Sure.
It's really
Well said.
It's really fun to be able to give that back in my time and in my talent and whatever that looks like.
So share with the listeners and viewers, what's one of your current passion projects that you have put a lot of time? What's your T's you talk about normally? Your time,
talent, and treasure. Time, talent, and treasure.
So what's your share with listeners and viewers what you're up to right now?
Yeah. So I'm the chair of the board of directors at YWCA Dayton, which has been around for 156 years in Dayton. And it's been an honor and a privilege to kind of bring this organization back to life.
Yes.
We were on the brink of not making it. We were on the brink of closing, and some really tough decisions had to be made. And I was happy to make them because those women and children couldn't be on the street. So YWCA is the only domestic violence shelter and long-term permanent supportive housing in Montgomery County for women who have been abused.
I will say this, obviously this is very public, so I'll say this in a very public way. I want people to understand if it weren't for you, Rachel, at that time, there would have been 80 plus women and children with no place to stay. And that's a fact.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fact. And, you know, those in the know, and there's a lot of leadership, I would call it, of the nonprofit community that knows this in the Dayton area, but a lot of the general public doesn't. And I think that story needs to be told because at the end of the day, you've made a lot of sacrifice the last couple of years for this organization. And boy, has it paid off.
It has.
And that should be acknowledged and celebrated.
Thank you. And it's paid off because it I mean, not even necessarily. I don't care about the accolades. I really don't. I just care that this organization is going to thrive and it's going to survive and it's going to do what it does best.
And you got some fabulous people.
Yes.
You got the right people in the right seats in the bus, using that analogy.
Yep.
And that within itself has been a lot of time and effort that you've put into it.
Yeah.
And now, for example, you got a great new CEO that is executing, I think, in your view, quite well.
Shout out Barbara Ward.
Yep.
Shout out.
So, and there's other players. I don't want to diminish other people that you have on the board, other leadership in the organization. So I don't want to leave anybody out, but just generalize the fact that it's a great organization and you put a lot of time and TLC into that topic.
Yeah, and it's been so rewarding and so fun, and I've really enjoyed it. And I have also many other things that I'm involved in. That's probably the one that takes up a bulk of my time, but we're also greatly involved in Dayton Rotary.
We are very involved in Dayton Rotary.
We love being Rotarians. It's a lot of fun. We really, really enjoy that. And I've now serve on that board.
Yes.
So it's been interesting watching the journey of giving back in the community in our marriage, because
together.
Yes. So very early on, you were the one that was serving on a million boards. You were trying to grow your company. You were trying to get noticed and seen and show that you're willing to be supportive and helpful.
Well said.
And you did a lot of that early on in your career. And then I think you had to take kind of a beat because it was all encompassing. Anybody knows that's ever served on a board that it is a lot of work. It is a lot of giving your time for absolutely no dollars.
Yes.
So it was something that you needed to take a minute to step back on.
Yep.
But I've now stepped into that role.
Yes.
And it's so fun that we get to talk about it from the other side, which is so neat.
It's well said. And I think what's crazy now is I've reached my point in my life that when I'm out about in the Dayton community, I usually introduce myself in some of the pockets of the community is, "Hi, I'm Matt. I'm Rachel Jessup's husband." And they're like, "Of course I know Rachel." So even though the firm has our last name on it, right?
Yeah.
I'm usually more associated in the Dayton community with you than I am JWM, the wealth management practice.
Well, anything like nonprofit that comes up, you run to me and go, "Do you know this person? Do you know this
like,
person?"
Of course I know
I'm
that
like,
person.
"Yeah, of course I know that person."
You need me to make an introduction?
And then you know the for-profit people, and I know the nonprofit people.
Yes. Two more comments. We got to watch our time. One is, if anyone's listening to this podcast and ever wants to be a guest to attend a Dayton Rotary meeting, we meet on Mondays at Sinclair in the conference center. It's noon to 1:15. Rachel and I are happy to have you as a guest. You can go on the Dayton Rotary website to learn more about the organization. We're big advocates for it. And my last comment about Dayton Rotary, giving them a plug, is it's easy to live your life when you apply what we call the four-way test. And the four-way test of a Rotarian is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And it was funny, I was having this conversation last night with my very good friend, Andrew White, and he's also a Rotarian. And we were just talking about it's easy to run your business when you just apply the four-way test and all the chips fall in the right places. All right, two more things before we wind down. It's often, and I'm going to do a form of this question, often I get the question about how I handle my own finances. And one of the questions I tend to get is, well, Matt, do you own the same stuff that are in your investment models that a majority of your clients own? I'm like, absolutely I do. But a question that I'll throw to you, Rachel, that might be insightful for our listeners and viewers has to do with our home finances. And what a lot of people might be surprised with is I don't handle the household finances.
No.
You do.
Yes, you handle zero.
I handle the work stuff. You handle the home front.
I'm pretty sure you don't even know what our mortgage company is.
I don't know, and I do not care. I trust you to handle those things.
And that's something that's been interesting to learn about each other, especially in an entrepreneurial spirit. You have to really learn how to delegate when things get to a point where you just cannot manage everything. And I remember, so you used to manage our finances. And I'll be very honest, it didn't go well.
Well, it was kind of an afterthought.
It was an afterthought because you just didn't have time.
Yeah.
You were so focused on building your business and managing the people in your business that you had no time to do anything at home. So I remember,
That's the classic entrepreneur right there.
I know. And so you would ask, did we practice what we preach at home? Absolutely not in the beginning. Of course not.
Well, we were building a business.
We were building a business. We were taking financial sacrifices right and left.
Absolutely.
And had a maxed out credit card and things that we would never tell clients today to focus on.
Yeah, things were a lot different 15, 20 years ago.
Things were a lot different back then. But yes, I manage all of our personal finances. You do absolutely nothing. In fact, you get frustrated if anybody reaches out to you for anything personal at the house. You're like, call my wife.
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
Call my wife. I'm not it.
My favorite is when contractors come over to the house and they start like looking to me first. Like, whoa. No. Talk to her.
Yeah,
Talk to her.
I know nothing. I'm out.
We wanted to take a minute and tell you about a service we personally use and trust, LifeLock by Norton. With everything we do online these days, protecting your identity and personal information is more important than ever. That's why we've partnered with LifeLock, a leader in the identity theft protection industry. Their mission is to empower people to live their digital lives safely, offering tools to help protect you and your family from threats like identity theft, cybercrime, and fraud. They combine advanced technology with 24/7 support to keep your information safer in today's connected world. We use it ourselves, and we think it's a valuable tool for anyone looking to add an extra layer of protection. If you're interested in checking it out, you can use our special link to get a discounted rate. As a heads up, we do receive a percentage of compensation if you sign up using our link, but we partnered with LifeLock because we believe in what they offer. To learn more and get the deal, just head to jessupwealthmanagement.com/LifeLock.
All right. So one last question as we wind this down. I think this has been fantastic, Rachel. What advice do you have for other entrepreneurial couples? What would you tell that couple just starting out on a similar path?
So I'm going to get a little mushy for a second.
All right.
There's this influencer couple that I follow online, and obviously they are entrepreneurs, even though they're influencers. This is what they do for a living, and they do it together.
Yep.
And I remember one of the things that she brought up was marriage isn't hard, life is hard.
I like that.
And when I first heard it, I thought, baloney.
I remember when you shared this with me.
Yeah, but when I really started thinking about it, and I promise I'm getting to a point, that if you marry the right person as an entrepreneur, you're guaranteed to succeed because you're walking along this path with your best friend.
That's right.
And it's fun. You end up getting to the fun.
You do.
And we had to go through the muck in the pond before we got to the clear part.
You're not wrong.
But it's so rewarding to get to that end place. And
well
so
said.
I would say that
That's
really,
good advice.
Really lean into each other. Lean into each other's expertise. I don't have financial expertise. Now I can manage our home finances, but you don't want me to pick any type of stock for anybody in any of their portfolios.
I got that.
But I have the interpersonal expertise, and I have the parts that you lack, and you're happy to admit that you lack them.
Absolutely.
Just like I have the parts that I lack. But when we come together, something beautiful happens. And I think this is a great example of what that looked like. It was us choosing each other over and over again, and we made something great out of it. And it's really fun to do that every day with someone that you love so much.
I love you. How do I follow up that?
I don't know. Good luck.
How do I follow up that? Well said. I love you, and that is great advice. Here's what I would say. You have to have a mindset that failure is not an option. There can be no plan B if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. There's a plan A, and you got to keep chugging at it.
So I would expand upon that even a little bit more, that it's not that failure's not an option. It's that if failure does happen, you pull yourself up and you figure out how to make it right again.
Well said.
Because failure is inevitable in any growth of any business. You're going to mess up. You are going to fail.
That's a good way to reframe it. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, you remember many years ago, you had one bag stock trade. I mean, this was a long time ago. We're talking 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And it really devastated you because it was one of the first times that you really didn't.
Got burned.
You didn't hit the nail.
I got burned on that one.
And you're so good at this, but man, that really messed you up for a while.
That stunk.
And anybody who doesn't think that this man doesn't bring his work home is lying to themselves. We talked about it at the dinner table for like 5 years straight. I mean, you were so committed to that never happening again.
Well said.
So it's that failure does happen. Failure absolutely happens. It's just what you do with yourself afterwards.
It is always insightful and interesting when we get around other couples that work together in a business. And it's interesting because you and I tend to pick up the commonalities we have very quickly.
Yeah.
And we tend to pick up the things that are different very quickly. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
But it is very interesting to kind of see that how people have grown their business, taken different paths than we did, even within our industry. Because, I have a study group that has about 10 other similar firms peppered across the nation. And, you see how these different firms were built. Some were by acquisition. Ours was predominantly all organic. Keeping a small staff, building a large staff. It's super interesting.
It is. And they're all a little different, but I'm really proud of ours.
I'm very proud of ours.
Just throw that
I
out
feel
there.
like we took the long road for the right reasons, and we are more in the dividend phase. We have a great team. We sincerely care about them deeply. And that permeates through the client experience.
Yeah.
I got
We
to
were talking about this on the drive here.
I was going to tee you up on it, and then we're getting close to time, but why don't you paraphrase, and we're going to leave it on that note. Why don't you share those thoughts?
I think success in a business, if you are going to grow your business to have employees and be outside just yourself, because there are a lot, and there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are just entrepreneurs of one, and
Sure.
they never expand to where you have multiple staff members.
Yes.
But if you're in a route that we have gone, where we've expanded so much, where we've added staff, I really feel like guaranteed success is to happen when you run your business ethically.
Yep.
So, and whether that is ethically in how you treat your clients, how you treat other people in business, how you treat your staff, and being willing to take a personal sacrifice to enable their growth is incredibly important.
It is important.
Because it puts yourself in that form of empathy, right? You've been there. You've been to a point where you're growing and figuring it out and trying to make your way in the world. And so it adds the boots of empathy on.
And when they see the leadership making the sacrifice first, boy, does that add to the culture.
It does. It does. And your staff and your people around you are everything. They are everything.
Yep.
You can be doing all of it right and trying to be awesome, but if you don't treat your staff with respect, because they are there and they are the people that your clients are talking to you
Sure.
before they talk to you.
Yes, it's true.
And so having them and acknowledging that they are important and a part of a team that you want them to be on
Yes.
is vital for success.
Yes.
It's vital.
I mean, an example would be, I'll just take it one step further. We've never laid off a staff member, and we've gone through some tough times.
Yeah.
And in fact, take like 2022,
Yeah.
we gave some outsized raises, and we don't take home paychecks for several months, right?
Yeah.
And that's just what you have to do as an entrepreneur, though.
Right. And you would think, oh man, you're already how many years into the business? I mean, you should be making it at this point, right? But
Sure.
there's downturn times.
That's
and
right.
Especially when you're in the financial markets.
Yep.
But yeah, at that time, we had choices to make. And
That's right.
keeping our culture
Was important.
so much more important than any type of paycheck that could have been brought home.
And I think that's a good case example for other entrepreneurs, because as you get going, you will eventually encounter a time like that, and you're going to be at a crossroads,
You
and
are.
you need to make a decision between what is a decision that is less painful in the short term or less painful in the long term.
Yeah.
And you got to keep the long-term perspective. That's one of my last words of wisdom.
Yeah, I would fully agree. And just surround yourself with greatness, whatever that looks like, whatever greatness looks like for you. Greatness in your staff, greatness in yourself. And, we believe in God, and so we absolutely turn to that for greatness.
Yes.
And so just keep your mind's eye on that, and you will guarantee to be successful.
Well, I'm going to end it there. That was one heck of an Independent Advisors podcast, episode 364. Rachel Jessup, first time ever. That was great. I can't wait to see the comment section and us walking around Dayton Rotary coming up here the next couple of weeks. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of views on this one.
Right.
So join us next week for episode 365. We'll be back to our normal format. Thank you, Rachel, and we'll see everyone next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Independent Advisors Podcast. If you're interested in hearing more, hit the subscribe button so you can be notified every time a new episode gets released. Feel free to share with friends, family, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and X. Mark and Matt will continue to share beneficial information on these social media sites. Also, check out the podcast tab on their website. That's www.jessupwealthmanagement.com. There you'll find links to every episode of the Independent Advisors. Have questions or topics you want to discuss on the show? Send an email with the words questions and topics in the subject line to inquiries@jessupwealthmanagement.com. We'll talk about it right here on the podcast. Certain sections of this commentary may contain forward-looking statements based on reasonable expectations, estimates, projections, and assumptions. Forward-looking statements are not guarantees of future performance and involve certain risks and uncertainties which are difficult to predict. All indices are unmanaged and are not available for direct investment by the public. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and does not constitute either tax, legal, or financial advice. Although we do go to great lengths to make sure our information is accurate and useful, we recommend you consult a tax preparer, professional tax advisor, financial advisor, or lawyer regarding your specific circumstances. Investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. No strategy can guarantee any objective or goal will be achieved.